Hey, Donna, welcome to the Miracles Happen Fertility Podcast.
Wow, I love the name. Miracles Happen Fertility Podcast. I'm all in. You
Yes.
had me at miracles.
You bought it. No.
No, I'm in. I'm all in.
Real miracles happen, right? And you're one of them. I can't wait, seriously, for people to hear your story. Yeah, when your assistant emailed me, I was like, get her on now. Get her on now. I want to talk to her now. And then, of course, we had a very important question or conversation just before the recording about your lovely hair that I cannot wait to do myself. I'm just saying.
Thank you. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited for you.
I'm stoked.
It's so
I'm stoked.
empowering. And then you're not like chasing your roots, which I did
Yes.
first. It's never fun.
Oh, I wonder if that's a metaphor for something. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about who you are and what you do, how you came to want to be on this podcast. You have a beautiful story. And I'd love to just hear all about you.
That sounds great. I'd love to share that with you because
so I was born. No.
That's why I was born. The creator knew. The creator
Yes.
created this challenge so that I could share this with everyone.
That's right.
I'm really excited to be here and share my story because when we share our stories, that's where we can rise up everyone. You know, there are a lot of women right now that might be listening to this podcast, and they could be like where I was. They could be single at 40 and wondering what the heck, why, what's, you know.
Yes.
My mother said something really special to me that I'm going to share with those specific women that are single at 40 and like, where is he, wondering that whole thing. My mother said, God would not bring you all this way to leave you all alone. So just don't worry about it. And yeah, we have to take action as humans on the planet. It's, you know, he's just not going to arrive at your doorstep, but, you know, just having that understanding that you are not alone, that God did not leave you alone, that there is, as my grandma Phyllis said, a lid to every pot. Donna, there's a lid to every pot. So
just like that too. You have to say it like that.
You have to say it like that. So I just feel like another big important lesson from my journey was that when we're sitting there getting another wedding invitation or finding out that another friend is pregnant or that someone else got their dream job or someone lost 20 pounds or whatever it is that you are wanting that someone else has, there is a moment where you have a choice to either be in like compare and despair and be like, ugh, if I hear about another person getting engaged, ugh, if I hear about another person getting their dream job, another person pregnant, you know, it's really easy to get sucked into that sad, depressive kind of train of thought. But it's very subtle, and then you just switch it. Oh my God, as God did for them, God will do for me, and thank you so much. And this is really exciting.
It's a beautiful switch, indeed.
I know that when I see that person pregnant, that brings me one step closer. When I see another person getting engaged, I can meet someone at their wedding. Isn't that a great opportunity?
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yes. You start seeing things far differently as opposed to this painful trigger. It becomes like, what's this opportunity now? What's going on here that I need to notice?
I like the languaging in that. What's the opportunity for me? You know.
Yeah. So what was happening for you that you needed to start seeing opportunities? What was going on in your life? And
so I coming from like an acting and modeling world where everyone is getting the job around you and everyone's prettier than you and everyone has a better agent than you. It's like you can get really kind of downtrodden and sucked into that comparing thing. And so, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe longer, God, how old was I? I think I was like in my early 20s. and I met a teacher called Betty Buckley, and she had won a Tony for Cats on
Ooh,
Broadway.
beautiful.
And she was in a show called Eight is Enough. And some of you who were kids of the 80s, like me, might know that. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. And she played Abby on Eight is Enough. And she was my acting teacher, and I loved her. And the thing that I loved about her was she gave me an incredible gift in meditation. And she was the first person to really explain that we have a mind, we are not our mind. And that kind of blew me away.
Yes.
That was a big deal because I thought innocently, as everyone does, that the voice that was talking, saying like, oh, you're fat, oh, you're this, oh, you know, you're that, all the negative self-talk. I thought that was from my infinite nature, but it wasn't. It was from the monkey mind, as she called it.
Yes.
And they use that term, the monkey mind, a lot in Indian meditation. And she likened it to a wild horse, the mind. And that if you saw a wild horse, and we just got back from Chincoteague, which is in Virginia, where they actually have wild horses.
Ooh.
And it was the first time that I'd actually been around wild horses. And it was really amazing because they're so powerful, but you can't go near them because they'll kick you.
Yeah.
And you can't saddle them up because they're not trained. So it's like when she said the mind is like a wild horse, I didn't have a frame of reference. But now, you know, when we went there, I really got it, you know.
Oh, that is super cool.
And so you have to kind of, if you want to tame a wild horse, you have to make friends with it. Just kind of stand there, let it know that you're there, which is kind of like showing up on your yoga mat or showing up in meditation or showing up with affirmation. You just kind of say, hey, I know we've been doing things like this for however many years, but now I'm here, and how you doing? You know? And then you just kind of show up. Then you would give the horse a carrot or a sugar cube. Then it might let you brush it. It might let you, but eventually you're going to break that horse, put a saddle on it, and you're going to really take off and be your best self, you know? And so that's why I love meditation. And so going on this fertility journey really gave me an opportunity to really commit myself to, like, what do I want out of life? And then say, okay, I'm going to commit to this way of life that I want, which is, you know, with this little human.
Yes, sweet thing.
Delicious human.
And for those who are watching on YouTube, this is Donna's book. I love this title. If you're listening, it's Poppin Past 40. How awesome is that? And the tagline, oh, the holistic
path to midlife fertility, which is so funny. Isn't that hysterical?
It's way funny.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I love it. So you were introduced to meditation before you met your partner, yeah?
And I met John at a spiritual workshop. So in the middle of me doing a 365-day yoga challenge. Could you imagine? So
that sounds like heaven.
Entrenched in it.
Yes.
You know, it was like I was really committed. I was going to bed at 10 o'clock at night every night. I wasn't screwing around. I was like, I am so committed to being my best self, and whatever that means and whatever that looks like, you know. And so I was doing what we call in the spiritual world, the work.
It's really fancy, the work, and mysterious. So you had shifted really your state of being, it sounds like.
Because in my 20s and 30s, I was working at nightclubs and
right. Now I was going to say, for some people are like 10 o'clock at night. Shit, I'm in bed at 9, you know. Right. But we're talking about New York City here, the city that never sleeps. Like you're out at 2, 3, 4 in the
Oh yeah,
morning,
I was
right? Like,
doing the whole
yeah,
thing. Yeah, no, it was not
right.
helping um, my connection with the creator and the infinite. None of that was
Yeah,
helping me. So I
right,
had to like
right. Yeah, yeah.
get
And it,
serious.
yeah. And then you met your now husband, yes,
Yeah.
at a spiritual workshop. And how old were you at this time?
It was I turned 41,
Uh-huh.
and then a week later I met him, and he was 45. 40
Wow.
45, yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to pause here for a moment and say there are men like my husband who were 45 at, he's 50 now, but at 45, thinking about there is no way that I can have a child right now. I am, quote, too old.
That's what he thought.
Please, can you speak to that?
No, no, no. I mean, I'm asking you, that's what your
Oh,
husband thought.
oh, yes, that is what my husband thought.
So
I am
now
too old.
do you have kid? Like, what's going on?
Yes. Oh, yeah, no, we have two boys. Yeah.
I want to hear all about your boys. How old are
Oh,
they?
yes. They are, one is 11 and the other is 9.
Oh my God.
Um, but he's, I've talked to him about, not, I don't want any more children and he doesn't want any more children. It's fine. But I've talked to him about people who are, advanced maternal age or geriatric
Oh,
pregnancies, which
Jesus,
is
that's so crazy.
complete BS wording. Please erase those words from your mind, people. Um, and he's like, oh, I couldn't imagine being, having a newborn at 45. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, what?
Well,
But he's so
it's
like a kid. His energy is
right,
so youthful,
right.
right? So it's surprising to me. How was your husband?
I mean, he was amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
he's an amazing human, you know.
yeah.
I mean, he's
Otherwise,
amazing.
you wouldn't have chosen
Right.
him,
I mean,
obviously. But
clearly, look at me. Like,
I
like
mean,
attracts like. Like, what am
obviously,
I gonna do? Come on.
perfection. I
So,
mean,
I mean, no, but he had been through his own sort of journey, and he had he had been creating what he calls his own barriers to love. So he was like
uh-huh,
dating unavailable women, dating women that were way too young,
gotcha.
dating women that were far away. Like he did the whole thing too. And so I think there's kind of a thing where you could say you're ready, but unless you're really ready, you don't make the right choices with people, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so it was funny because I met him at this workshop, and then the second day that I knew him, because it was a 3-day workshop, uh, he did yoga every day at that time too. And we hung back at lunch to do a quick practice because I was on my challenge. I had to do it. And he looked at me, and so we were doing this practice, and he's like doing handstand push-ups. I'm like, who the heck is this? Like, where have you been? All that. And so we're going down the stairs to meet everyone at lunch, and he says, I'm going to make babies with you. And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
what? I just met you. Like, what's going on? And then I knew him a total of 6 weeks before we got engaged.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and then we got married 6 months after we got engaged. And so it was weird. So I had moved into his place, and I went to go get the mail, and I saw something in his handwriting addressed to him. And I thought that was weird. Like, why is something in his handwriting addressed to him coming
Uh-huh.
to his house? It was weird.
Oh, there's a
So,
story coming. I
so
love it.
then I'm like, dude, what is this weird letter in your handwriting addressed to you? And he kind of went, oh, he gasped, and then he said, oh my God. And then he opens it up. Okay. He had done a workshop in February. So we got engaged New Year's Eve, and then calendar year later, February. I guess
Hmm.
whatever workshop people had sent, they said, we're going to hold it for a year and then mail it out to you. You know how
Yep,
spiritual workshops,
yep,
and it was not a workshop that I did with him because I didn't
right,
even know him at this time.
right.
It was
Right.
something he had done a year prior to meeting me. No,
Right.
whatever. It was
Yes.
February. I met him, So anyway, he sits down, and the way he's sitting down, it's like, this is going to be juicy. This is going to be, So he opens the letter, and the letter is kind of like a love letter to me, who he had not met.
Oh shit. This is
Oh, I'm getting
awesome.
chills. I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. He's like, and we are both very spiritually minded, and we are enjoy a healthy lifestyle, and we both want marriage and children, and
Wow.
we've both done the work. Da 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 da. And I was like, oh my God. Like, first of all, like, thank God he wasn't one of these banker dudes who didn't understand that languaging or whatever. Because I had been so many workshops where I had written love letters to him before I met him, whatever. But,
Uh-huh.
I mean, look, he went to Stanford. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's like, he's a coach also. And,
Yeah.
whatever. But he's a spiritually minded person. So we're
Mm.
sitting there reading that, and it's like, I can't even tell you the amount of people that thought all the shit I was doing was corny and like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Like envisioning, doing vision boards, watching
Yeah.
The Secret like 100 million times,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
getting my girlfriends over with magazines in like 2010 when no one was doing it, like
Yeah.
2007,
Right. Right.
And it's funny, it's like when I had this one vision board that I made, and I had one of my girlfriends at one of these vision board hangout, order Chinese, drink wine, put music
Mm-hmm.
on, and vision, had brought like Runner's World magazine. And I
Uh-huh.
cut out this picture, the cover guy in these shorts and like running. And that went on my vision board. And then I had a very specific rose gold diamond ring on my vision board,
Wow.
and like all this stuff on my board. And then I met Johnny, and he runs every day, and like he has full head of dark hair, looks like the guy on
Whoa.
the cover of the thing. And then this ring is like I mean, I designed it,
Gorgeous.
but it's, whatever.
Yes,
And it's like,
exactly.
people are sitting there and they're like, I feel like The Secret kind of simplified it, oversimplified it. It's like you do have to take
Mm,
action, you do have to do work, you do have to,
sure,
like get out of your house and live your life. But
you do.
there's, when you envision it, like I was so alone and like sick of being single that I would just get on my hands and knees. I had like a come to Jesus moment where I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at picking guys. I said, God, can you just be my matchmaker, because I'm not good at this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm.
And then from that moment, I was like, oh, God's my matchmaker. I don't have to work so hard. I
Yeah.
don't have to try so hard to be the shiny, pretty thing, because God already, for the moment I was born, God picked someone for me.
Yeah.
So
So you get to just sit back and relax. And the work, looking for the signs and looking for the path that God sends, right? Like you don't get to just sit back and like potato chip and Netflix all day, right? Like you still need to
no.
like get out and, like you said, live your life,
Yeah, and
right?
then like just being aware of the opportunity, like when I'm
Yes.
at the yoga studio and the little girl behind the counter says, I see you crying a lot, and maybe you want to come to this
Mm,
workshop. My healer's in town from Texas, and you should come. And like being like, instead of being dismissive, being like, oh, maybe I'll go to that,
yeah.
you know?
Hello. It's like God being like, go to this. I'm telling you through this girl, right? To this person.
Right.
So was it similar when you began trying to conceive? How was that?
Well, so it was really weird. It was like I got engaged, and then I went to lunch with a bunch of girlfriends, and all three of them were like, "You're gonna do IVF, right?" And
Oh, interesting.
I was 41, and
Yeah.
I had been on a modified fertility diet since I saw what's her name? She was one of my nutrition heroes, Sally Fallon. Since I heard her speak when I was at school, and I was like 20 pounds underweight. I knew that something wasn't right. So I said, you know, even though I'm 32 and there's no man, I still want to have a baby. So I'm going to start changing my diet to this modified fertility diet. So I started then and there eating better food. But so I just thought, okay, well, I'm just going to see what my body can do, you know. And then my friend said, oh, you have to go to this doctor, because she had done IVF and had a baby. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And she said, no, it's good just to know where you're starting from, which I still think is great advice.
Sure. Okay.
Just go have your blood work done, see what your FSH is, see what your ovarian reserve is. None of that really means anything. We know those numbers can change, you know.
Yep.
But just
absolutely
see where you're at. Have your husband get it sample checked. See where how, you know, because we can actively change that stuff, which is really exciting.
Yes.
You know? And they won't tell you that. The fertility industry won't tell you that you can change that stuff.
Well, there's no money in that.
Thank you. So yes. And so that's kind of like where I was. Like now, that's why I wrote this book.
Yes.
Because I wanted to empower women. I wanted to say, no. They're going to tell you you can't change your egg quality. That's a lie. You totally can. I did it. They're going to tell you that, you know, you can't change your husband's sperm quality. That's a lie. We changed it. They're going to tell you that your pH doesn't matter. They're going to tell you all this stuff. And I'm here to say, no, all of it matters, and you can totally change it.
Yes.
So anyway, for me, we were having a lot of chemical pregnancies, miscarriages, a lot of weird stuff going on. You know, when I finally did try, there was a lot of weirdness going on. And so the fertility doctor that I went to, he never checked any of the things to see what was the root cause of it.
Okay.
And so we had, at that time, you know, I wasn't doing any intervention because I wanted to see what my body could do, but I was having these very, like, I would get a positive pregnancy test and then I would get my period. So it was really weird, like really early miscarriages, chemical pregnancy.
Yep.
And so by the time I found Dr. Sammy David, who wrote the book Making Babies, who ended up being my doctor. And then Owen Davis at Cornell, who I love also. By the time I met them, I had already been through 2 rounds of IVF that failed really bad, like really bad. Like they couldn't even do retrievals on the second one. And that was after using all this anti-cancer medicine off-label. They were using all this medicine off-label, which is so funny because there was a whole hullabaloo about off-label medicine being used in the last 2 years. But doctors use 80% of the medicine that doctors use, they use off-label. So what is that all about? Anyway,
yes, exactly.
That's for another conversation. But
Side note.
Side note, I'm available to talk about more shit.
Yes.
You know, more real talk, as my girlfriends say. So anyway, by the time I met Dr. Sammy David and Dr. Owen Davis, I had already been through the ringer. I had already been devastated, couldn't get out of bed, massive depression. And so when you ask me, did I approach this fertility situation the way I approached the finding a husband? The answer is yes and no. Because in the beginning, I just thought I wanted to be a mother since I'm 5 years old. My grandmother called me the little mother, you know, I mothered everything, you know. And so I just thought my story is going to be an easy one because I've had such a hard life. You know, my father died when I was very young. I had a lot of trauma. I had, you know, my parents got divorced. It was like, it's all in the book. It was like a lot of not a happy life, you know. And so I just thought I'm going to be rewarded by having an easy, you know, I thought my karma, I had already paid in. I thought, you know.
I'm debt free now.
Right. And so I am so grateful that I did not have, I'm grateful for my journey because then I get to help other people.
Yes.
You know? So anyway, when I met, I found Dr. Wu, who's this really great traditional Chinese doctor. He's retired now, but he was amazing. And I took all the disgusting herbs and I did whatever he said.
Blah. I remember them. I still can taste them.
So bitter and gross, right?
Awful.
Disgusting.
And they make the house smell terrible.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But they bring the babies, so it's kind of worth it. So anyway, so when they checked me out, they were both like shaking their heads, like, why do these doctors, these very fancy $15,000 to $20,000 a pop doctors, not check for the simplest thing? Like Dr. Sammy David had a microscope in his office. No doctors have microscopes in their office.
No.
40 years ago, before like 45, now going back to 50 years ago, I guess, before IVF, everyone had a microscope in their office because the first thing they did was check your vaginal pH to make sure your husband's sperm was alive post-coitus. And that was the first tip-off. Because if the sperm can't get up there, how are you going to make a baby?
If it's killed off before it can get there, right? Too much acid.
So that's what was wrong with me, first thing. Second thing was we had a bacteria we were passing back and forth. Classic IVF, they give the woman,
antibiotic.
Now we can say woman. We can say woman. They give the woman the antibiotic, but they don't give it to the guy.
Right.
So the first thing Dr. Sammy David did, he said, well, when you're having sex, you're passing back and forth bacteria. If you just give it to the woman, the guy's going to give her the bacteria. So let's give it to both of you. So we had the most insidious bacteria. When he sent my blood work off to, like, I think Chicago, or where they check for killer cells and C19 cells. And we had like the worst. We had something called ureaplasma, which is the worst.
I've not even heard of that.
It's the most insidious bacteria. It is responsible for like all the crazy, not all, but it's one of the biggest reasons why people have miscarriage.
Oh my God. I need to know this.
9 antibiotic should be like, I don't like antibiotics, but sometimes, because you really have to, when you take an antibiotic, you really have to work hard at getting everything back. That's in my book too, because I interviewed Dr. Gundry, the microbiome expert. And, like I'm drinking sauerkraut juice like it's going out of style because, you want to make sure that everything's okay. But if you do an antibiotic, you have to be sure that you recolonize and get everything going back again. So fermented vegetables are your best friend. So we
kimchi.
found that kimchi, baby. So it was the bacteria. It was the vaginal pH. It was what else? What else was wrong with me? And my immune system was heightened. So the bacteria, the vaginal pH, and my immune system. So
inflammatory response.
Yeah, I had elevated C19 cells, and that's why I was having early miscarriages. So we had to play detective. We had to figure stuff out. And then I needed to work on egg quality, which, the big fertility doctors on Madison Avenue that told me, that I needed.
That's not a thing.
That you can't change your egg quality. Meanwhile, Dr. David and Davis were both like, absolutely, you could change your egg quality. And now we know Rebecca Fett had her book called It Starts With an Egg, which I love her work. She has all these Danish studies and all this great data that shows absolutely you can change your egg quality. And so to answer your question about, the difference between having a baby in your 20s and 30s, the main thing is egg quality. And so what happens is, and this is so exciting, when I learned this, and I didn't learn it till after I had Paloma, but I was taking this particular supplement anyway because someone told me to. I think it was either one of the doctors or the guy at the health food store, like the guy that was all like tatted up with those ear buttons.
Yeah.
Knew everything about these guys at the health food store will be your best friend, when you're going
they're great.
through fertility treatment. And so it was coenzyme Q10.
Yeah.
And so what happens when you are over 35 is that the mitochondria, the power centers, the energy center
In a
of
cell.
the, yeah, it gets really tired.
Mm.
So you might get pregnant, but then the duplication part of the chromosomes, which is the main thing that goes wonky after 35, is the chromosome thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that happens is because when they duplicate, there's not enough energy to power them up, so they do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
So coenzyme Q10 will give energy right to that area.
Cool.
And how cool is that? That
mm-hmm.
now people knowing that can like go just get a bottle of really good quality food grade
CoQ10.
Yeah, with no, you want to make sure you don't have any like what is that called? The thing that it's an additive. You got to be so careful when you're buying vitamins, but there's magnesium stearate.
Citrate.
Stearate. So magnesium stearate is an additive that the vitamin companies put in to make it easier for them to clean the machinery, like places that are doing a lot of different types of vitamins.
Yep.
So you're going to pay a lot more for like whole food, real food, like New Chapter, Mega Food, all these good brands, but you'll get pregnant quicker because.
And that's all in your book, yeah?
Yeah.
The brand that folks.
Well, I have.
Okay, good.
I have lists of my
Great.
recommendations. Yeah.
So, okay, here's a big question that people are going to ask. I know it. How long did it take you to finally conceive Paloma? Like, how long did it take you to
like
improve egg quality, to like do all the things and change your body? Like, how long?
So I met John when we got married. I was almost 40. I was almost 42 when we got married. So it was June when we got married.
Mm-hmm.
We started having miscarriages, all that stuff. Then in January, after a bunch of miscarriages, that was when I first tried IVF. Mm-hmm. January, February, March. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nothing worked.
Mm-hmm.
I gained 14 pounds. I was horribly depressed. Mm-hmm. April, a clairvoyant who I love, I interviewed her for my book, Tori Quisling, was teaching. She does these great classes. And we did like a Zoom call. And one of her students gave me a reading and told me, he was like sitting there really listening to the, whatever he was listening to. And he said, I see getting a dog will make the baby come quicker. So that was April. We got Daphne the Wonder Dog.
Uh-huh.
Which you met her. And
yes,
she's like sleeping now. She's relaxing. But so April, we got Daphne. Then I think May, I started with all the stuff, egg quality. So we did 4 cycles of IUI, which is like the easiest thing to do.
Yes.
And I just where they put a catheter in, you still go have sex with your husband, but they also, your husband is coming into the office, having a little sexy time by himself, giving a sample, and then they're putting the catheter in, bypassing the vaginal canal. What I love is they know exactly, timing is the greatest thing. And I learned through this process that unlike the vast majority of women that ovulate for 24 hours, I only ovulated 6 hours.
Oh, holy cow.
That was my window. I had 6 hours to get it done.
Holy cow.
So the fact that I was getting pregnant all these moments means.
But that's exactly where my thoughts went. Whoa.
Right.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing, right? So the great thing about IUI, I love IUI, is that they know what side you're ovulating on. They know exactly to the moment when you're going to ovulate. They get you in there. A good doctor will do back-to-back days of IUIs, like 2 back-to-back. That's what Dr. David does, Sammy David does. And he'll still say, go have sex with your husband. Like a lot of doctors, they're like, no, do it every other day. Don't do it too much. He's like, get it. We did it 5 times, like 5 times in 2 days. And we were like 2 rounds, anyway. So I think it was like May. So the round that we got pregnant on was September 12th, the week before my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so September, August, July, June. So we started in June. We
4
started
months.
Clomid, we started prednisone. I hated it all. So we had done all these medicated IUI, 3 medicated IUI. I went in first week in September to see the doctor. I said, I do not want any medicine. I hate the way I feel. I don't want anything. I said, I want non-medicated IUI. He's like, well, we still need to suppress your immune system. So then he did like soy interlipid drip thing, which was like $400 a pouch. But I'm like,
it's spendy.
Let's just do it, because at this point, what else do we have really? So we did the interlipids, I think like 3 times that week. I saw Dr. Wu 3 times that week, and then when we went for the IUI, John and I also had the in-house acupuncturist do Reiki and acupuncture in Dr. David's office. So we both got needles. We were holding hands. Dr. David held our hands, dimmed the lights, and he prayed with us. What doctor prays?
Oh, who does that? What?
He held
Love
our
him.
hands and he prayed with us.
Oh my God.
He's amazing.
Love.
Like that's why people fly in to see him, because he's pure love, So when then we went into deep meditation, John and I. He left the room, the lights were off. I was like relaxing, and like the sperm was coming up, whatever, and he to do swimming. And I love IUI because your egg stays in the cozy environment. It's not coming out of your body. And I had a visitation from the ancestors during this whole thing. So Johnny takes me out. He's putting me in a cab. At the time, it was before Ubers. So I was just in a cab. And I said, hey, Johnny, I think we made a baby because my Nana and my Aunt B came through. And he says, I think we made a baby too because all 4 of my grandparents came through.
Oh, he's an intuitive too. Wow.
What?
He's intuitive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
It was amazing. So it was like,
it
was a very spiritual. So when you say how long did it take? I was 43. She was born in June, and I was 43 at the time when I had her.
Yeah.
So from like 41 and a half till 43 and a half. So all in maybe 2 years. I don't know, a year and a half. I don't know.
Yeah. But from the time that you started really focusing on egg quality and
it was quick.
pH and all that was
when I found the right doctors.
Yeah.
And got Daphne. And I would pick her up, but she will scream at me if I try to pick her up right now.
Oh, no worries. This is amazing because the way that I'm hearing you talk about this, it's like this combination of really paying attention and listening to your intuition, getting in touch with your spiritual side, but also doing the things that are like of the earth, right? Like I'm getting some tests done and I'm right. Like I'm doing those things because it felt right to you.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, I wish I had one of me, because now I've been a health coach since 2007. But when I went through this, I shifted to my focus to fertility coaching. I used to do weight loss, digestion, skin, anti-aging, all that stuff. But, I'm certified. I went to Teachers College of Columbia. I went to Integrative Nutrition. I, did all this work, but this is so much more interesting to me. And so I wish I'd had a coach, because my whole thing is I want to save you time, money, and heartache. Yeah. And that's why I wrote the book. And that's why I do coaching, because people need to know what's available.
And you needed to experience what you experienced so that you can help people with this.
I would not have changed it. The only thing I would have changed is like, if we started earlier, we could have had more. If we'd met sooner,
Gotcha.
I would have had like a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So can you name like 2, 3 things that people can do today? What can people start doing today to help improve egg quality?
Well, egg quality, you
Yes.
can really be aware of your devices, Wi-Fi. I have a whole chapter in my book. I interviewed Matthew Waletsky, who's a home toxicity expert,
Mm,
and I go deep into this. But like,
cool.
shut your Wi-Fi off at night. It's really easy to do. There's no reason
Yep.
that your Wi-Fi should be on while you're sleeping. Get
Nope.
your phone out of your room and shut it off.
Cool.
Um, get like something like this is a safe sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the little thing is that says safe sleeve, but it's see it says like radiation protection.
Yes, I've heard of those. Yes.
So get this, get something like this. Make
And
sure you keep
for
your
folks,
devices away
sorry
from
to
you.
interrupt you, Donna. For those who are just listening and they can't see you, Donna just held up her phone with a case
Yeah.
over it. That's like a protective case for radiation. Is that
Yeah.
what it says? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
if you can, it's funny. It's like my hands started hurting me after I switched to a 5G phone. I would say if you have like a generation behind,
Mm-hmm.
just
Cool.
just don't switch to the 5G. Don't get the 5G in the house. It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I really notice a difference. Like
Mm-hmm.
I keep my phone away from me. I keep it on airline mode. So that's the first thing. Make sure your husband like doesn't carry his phone in his pocket. Like
Yeah.
when we did this, Johnny had to get a briefcase. And
Whoa.
he was like,
Old
what is this?
school.
Like 1980? Like,
Uh-huh.
why am I? And I said, dude, do you want to have a baby or not? Get the phone. It literally cooks their sperm.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the first thing. Like, get your devices in check, get in bed early, get off your devices, get in bed,
Sleep.
10 p.m., sleep. Make sure you're getting that yummy, great sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Reduce the stress. Start
Yes.
doing even if you're just doing the simple, where you're inhaling for 6, holding for 6, exhaling for 7,
Mm-hmm.
running your energy, getting involved with some meditation, then starting to eat only real food, whole food that is what it says it is. I have a huge chapter on food. I go deep into like, what are you going to eat?
Yes.
Because you're either building your fertility or detracting from your fertility every bite you
Mm-hmm.
take. Because
Mm-hmm.
our moms built us in her body with food.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it, people are like, oh, I have to have my drink. Oh, I have to have my cigarette when I have my drink. Or,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I
Mm-hmm.
need to have Skittles or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to have a donut.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have this. It's like, well, if that's more important than having a baby, then you really don't want a baby. Then let's not have this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How bad do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
for me, it's really easy. Your follicles are in your ovaries, and you are literally creating the health of your baby from that follicle.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got 4 months before that follicle matures to that egg.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do with that time?
Mm-hmm.
What is your
Yeah.
husband going to do? Because it's 90 days for his sperm cycle.
Uh-huh.
It's 90 days. We get 4 months. So like, what are you going to do? It's like, people are like, oh, I don't know. It's like, just put the time in. Just say, for a year, I'm focusing on this.
Cool.
I'm going to eat, and don't eat a lot of raw salads.
Uh-huh. Oh, interesting.
You want to keep that, in Chinese medicine, there are the 3 heaters, the heart heater, the digestive heater, and the reproductive heater. You want to keep that warm, wear things that are warm around your body, keep it cozy.
Yeah.
Put your car seat heaters on in the winter.
Yeah.
Keep it warm.
Yeah.
So those are like little things that you could do. Get a dog, because that makes you a mommy right away. And then you're not in lack and you know,
Yep.
scarcity. You're in like, oh, I've got this little beautiful baby. She's snoring now. Oh my God, she's so sweet.
Yeah. They're so cute. My baby that I got while we were trying to conceive is now 16. Yesterday, or Wednesday, he just turned 16 years old.
Oh my God, what kind of
Yeah.
what
He's
kind
a
of?
mini dachshund.
Oh my God, they're so cute,
Way stinking
and they're very
cute.
kissy. They're very
Very
kissy.
kissy, very
You need a kissy.
lappy,
You need a kissy
very,
lappy
I
baby.
needed a little baby. Yes. He
What's the
helped so
name?
much. Dexter, but we call him Monkey because he used to hop over everything. Hop, hop, hop. So we call him Monkey.
16. God bless
He
them.
just turned 16. Yeah. And he's like hobbling along, but he's still as feisty as ever. But, and it was that instant feeling. We already had a dog, but I needed a baby,
A baby
right?
dog.
I needed
A
a
baby puppy.
baby. And you're right. It just changes
They
that
tease.
energy.
They're like their little teeth
They
fall out. So
do.
stinking cute.
They do. Yeah. And he was little, so I totally support that and everything that you're saying. It's really, it's wonderful. And I think um, when people go to look for actual, like, here are the steps that you can do, they really just need to pick up your book because it sounds like it's all in there. But if
Oh,
they
yeah.
decide to connect with you, well, let me just ask, how can people connect with you, and what's your coaching like? Is it a year long? Is it 6 months long? Do you have it set up like that, or is it kind of open? What is it like when people work with you?
Yeah, so I love doing 6 months program because then
Hmm.
I can really teach you how
Yes.
to change everything, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
One-off sessions are good. We can kind of see where you're going. I can give you a few tips, but I really like to be there through the
Yes.
whole journey, you know.
Yes.
Um, so if you go to donnasonkinshaw.com or poppinpast40.com,
Hmm.
and it's spelled like the book,
Yep.
Poppin,
Right. Right.
and it's all spelled out 40. But if you go to those websites, I have a full page that talks about my pricing and what you get and how it works.
Cool.
And I do in-person coaching, but I love Zoom just as much. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So both.
yeah, yeah,
Cool. Yeah. People get the same good benefits anyway.
it's the
I love
best.
it.
I mean,
I love
it's thank
online.
God
Yeah.
for
So great.
Zoom because really and truly, it's
I know. But no Zooming at night because your Wi-Fi is going to be off. Right, people? Right?
exactly. There's no night Zooming, no weirdness.
No. Donna,
And
thank you
also,
so
if
much.
someone comes and they know they want to be a mom, but they're in the dating process, I love
Uh-huh.
coaching people on that too. Because I was
Oh, love
I
it.
was on a VH1 reality show for dating. Like
Oh,
I've been
cool.
through the ringer with dating.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a dating expert. So, that
That
I'm
is
I'm
so
a
cool.
I'm around.
You have a niche there. I love it. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Donna, for your wisdom, and all of your information will, of course, be linked on the show notes so people can find you. And any
Thank you so
last
much for
words,
having
any
me.
last wise words you have for folks?
I just wanna say that being a mother comes in all different ways, and there are many miracles that can happen, and sometimes
Mhm.
things won't look like you expect them to look. And I would just want all of the people listening to this to know that there are women who've been through the journey that really want this for you. Your
Yes.
ancestors want this for you.
Yes.
um, the creator, all the angels, archangels, everybody's pushing for this to happen for you if this is what's on your heart.
Yes.
And so my wish for all of you is to get what you want, what's
I
on your
love
heart.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Thank you. I actually would say to myself back then, I'd be saying the exact same words that you just said, and then they want you to get out of the damn way.
Oh,
Just
yes. Oh, I'm
get
so
out of
glad
the
you
damn
added that.
way.
I'm so glad you added that.
Yes.
Because sometimes
Mhm.
we're just too like invested and too like
Yes.
I remember when I was a kid, my mother used to say to me, um, sometimes you have to be softer handed with everything. And
Yes.
she said if you go to the beach and you pick up a handful of sand, it
Hmm.
stays in your hand. But the
Hmm.
minute you close your grip, where does the sand go? It slips right through
Yes.
your fingers.
That's it. That's it.
So That's your point. Get out of the way. Don't grab so
Yeah.
hard. Just let it
Yeah.
unfold.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
You're trying, the universe is trying to gift you this. So get out of the way. Dang it. It's really interesting what happens too. And I wondered if you had this exact experience when I finally let go, and started doing the work that you're talking about. Meditation was huge, huge. Then my baby came, and it was like, well, of course, this is how it always was.
Right.
Of course he's
Anything good
here.
that you manifested was
Yeah,
sort of in that way too, when you kind of
yeah,
let go. Let go and
yeah.
let God.
That's right. And it just felt like, well, that's how it's been this whole time. I mean, he wasn't physically here, but I feel the
You
same
felt
way.
him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He was always
God, I
here.
wish she would wake
Yeah.
up so she would.
I
Let me see.
know,
Let me
so she
see.
could say
Oh,
hello.
okay, she's up. Hey.
Yay,
Oh, 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 oh.
Daphne.
Wait,
Hi,
let me
beautiful.
take these off so she can hear you. All right, you can talk.
Hi, beautiful. Hi, pretty girl. Oh, she's bored. She's like, what are you even talking about? Hi, gorgeous. Oh, hey guys, thank you so much for meeting with me today and for sharing your wisdom. I can't wait to share this to the world.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
All right, lots of love. I really had fun with you.
Likewise. Dogs, Daphne is yawning like crazy, like y'all don't know what you're talking about. I'm the wise one.